welcome to another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and Peebush. How you guys doing?
Doing all right, man. It's been a rough couple weeks at work, but another rough couple weeks with fantasy, man. It's just been a downhill start to October, unfortunately.
All I gotta say, Pat, is good luck next week again. Good luck next week against my squad, aka the Saquon squad, man. Watching that guy play football is just a beauty to watch, man. Had to be up a little early to watch that game, but it was worth it, even though he gave me almost a heart attack when he left the game, man.
Mm-hmm.
Almost, if that guy got injured for a significant amount of time, bye-bye fantasy football, man. It's going to be a rough year if he was out. But the brother came back and scored a tutty, man. That's all I can ask for, man. That's all I can ask for.
We got the win.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah.
G-Man. Good old G-Man.
Oh.
It's not like the New York Giants, man, making noise in the Big Apple. Like I said, I guess they were across the pond when they had that win. But shout out to Brian Daboll. You can see he's changing the culture. For me, it was a pretty good fantasy week. I'd like to thank Darren Waller for getting, I guess you could say, sidelined, because that helped me. I was up.
Did he even play?
Maybe one or two series. Yeah. And I was up by like 8 points, and I was nervous as hell. I was thinking, like, yeah, Darren's going to get like a touchdown by the goal line that's going to be over with. But he didn't play, so that I was able to escape that fantasy weekend, and it got me to, over 500. So that's great. But we'll be talking about fantasy within the middle of the pod. But at the beginning, we're going to start with week 5. A lot of scenarios per usual with the week 5 games. So I want to ask P. Bush, what was his thoughts on some of those trends, I guess?
Once again, man, I'm going to go not with the Ravens this week.
No, I thought you was going there. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm actually going to go with the Cowboys, which I think you guys have picked the past couple weeks as well.
Cooper.
And also to kind of go in line with, is it time to panic on the Rams side? I mean, you're looking at that running game. They're not using Darrell Henderson at all. I don't think he had one rush last game. He might have had a couple catches. Cam Akers, less than 3 yards a carry. Absolutely brutal to watch. I don't know if it's an issue on their O-line, but the only guy that's working, per usual, is Cooper Kupp. I think he had like 10 catches again this week. Absolutely ridiculous. But, man, I just got to, once again, shout out Cooper Rush, man. I think Dak's rooting. I think Skip might have said this on Undisputed today, but I think Dak's rooting for Cooper Rush to lose to the Eagles this coming Sunday. So,
man, if he beats the Eagles, oh, Lord.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm looking, look, he didn't have a pretty game, but it was efficient. I mean, he had 100 yards, didn't turn the ball over, still has not turned the ball over since he took over for Dak this year. And I was impressed by the running game. I thought Zeke was able to, hold his own, and then Tony Pollard had that big rush, which is big. But, man, that defensive side of the ball on the Cowboys, man, they made me a lot of money in DraftKings this weekend. And the fact that they're just getting to any quarterback at will has just been beautiful to watch. Micah Parsons, another scare, Zoo, there for a second, coming out of the game there for a minute. Comes right back in, goes right back to business, man. And that fumble recovery, just beautiful, man.
Oh, man, shouts to my boy. Go for the defensive player of the year, man. Put some money on you, man. And they're looking at, if you look at the Dallas Cowboys defense, man, you can make an argument. They're the best defense in football right now.
Yeah, they are. I think
you can make a great argument because, statistically, the way they get to the quarterback, man, and they get a bunch of picks, man, and the special teams been looking good too. So, shout out to the Cowboys for getting it done with a backup quarterback. Yeah, that is incredible. Like Cooper Rush, man. There's a reason they're calling this. Do you know what they're calling this movie? Rush Hour 4, baby. Rush Hour 4, man. Let's go, Brian. Let's go. So shout out to Cooper Rush, man. That was a great pick, man. That was my highlight game last week, and it did not disappoint. But for me, man, I'm going back to that Baltimore Ravens game, man. That ending, oh, man. Shout outs to Justin Tucker for being the GOAT kicker of all time. Not because he just won his team, the Baltimore Ravens, but my fantasy team thanks you for your service.
16
fantasy points. That game winner, man, my heart was in that, man. I was barely a man.
Oh, you knew he was making it.
Oh, I knew he was making it, but I need to see it to believe it, man. I need to see it to believe it. So when he hit that, I was like, whoo, this guy comes in clutch again, man. But watching this game, Lamar Jackson, he missed a couple of throws, man. A couple of throws. One of them wide open to, what's his guy? Tylan Wallace, if I remember correctly. Tylan Wallace gets wide open. Lamar Jackson just has to throw it to the wide open guy. Would have been a touchdown. Missed the throw. Missed the throw, man. This is why people always second guess Lamar Jackson's skill set, because when you miss bombs like that, that's unacceptable. They're lucky that the Cincinnati Bengals team only put up 17 points.
Yeah.
Because, I expect a little more from the Bengals, man. But that Tylan Wallace, man. And then that second miss, man. If my memory serves me right, was it Mark Andrews? Andrews?
He overthrew someone and it got picked
And
off. That was his pick.
Yeah, I was trying to remember who it was to though.
I think it was
Duvernay.
I think it was Devin Duvernay, if I ever remember.
Might have been.
I think it was not Mark Andrews. And shout out to Mark Andrews who balled out again. But Devin Duvernay, man. So there were 2 touchdown opportunities that were just wiped out because of Lamar Jackson's lack of accuracy on the deep pass.
Mm-hmm.
You can't blame his receiver. I can't blame Marquise Brown dropping the ball this time, man.
No.
You gotta blame himself. You gotta blame himself on those passes. And you saw the reaction of him, which is like, can't believe I missed it, man. Even the way he flicked it, it wasn't like full of confidence. Like he just knew it. It's like when you shoot a jump shot, you already knew you missed it because it just didn't leave his thumbs feeling that good. So when I saw those 2 passes, I'm like, man, Lamar, man, you can't have that type of error in a game like this against the Cincinnati Bengals. I think even though the record's 2-3, man, I still think this Bengals team is scary and can still make the playoffs, man, and still make some noise. But that 2-3 record, this is a good football team. So they're lucky. Oh yeah. T. Higgins pretty much didn't even play the game. They said he played, but dude had nothing. Sat on the sideline pretty much the entire time. So Lamar Jackson, you're lucky to get this win through another interception. So, like, that MVP rise of the first couple games with those ridiculous performances, he's regressing that a little, especially in the passing yards. Only 174 passing yards.
So, like, 75, 80 rushing yards per usual.
Yeah, 58 rushing yards. I led the team in rushing. Like, Jake, he's the best running back on the team. Sorry, J.K. Dobbins, still Lamar Jackson. When that dude sneaks the ball, it is a beauty to watch. I swear to God, he averaged like 5 yards a carry. So, Lamar Jackson, as a runner, beautiful to watch, but as a passer, man, those 2 missed throws, they can't happen. They can't happen, especially in the playoffs, because in the playoffs, that's when you lose games. You're lucky this Bengals team didn't show up, man. You should lose that game if you miss throws like that, because that is unacceptable. Unacceptable.
They could have been up 20-16, the Bengals. Yeah. Right, going in, and they decided to go for it on 4th down. Go for it.
Man, what's up with that, man?
Needed those McPherson points too, man.
Yeah.
But, you know, hey, and look, you look at it, I mean, I don't want to delve into this game in full, but, you know, we had a similar decision by the Chargers that almost cost them in their game, right? These young coaches, and we've seen Harbaugh go with the same situation. They go with these analytics, and of course, you know, you look back, and I think multiple broadcasters have said it, but they, you know, of course, hindsight's 20/20. You're going to say, well, why did they go for it? The analytics are pointing you one way, but I think at the end of the day, man, against a guy like Lamar, and you're asking him to drive down the field, passing the ball, and needing to score a touchdown, you go up by 4 in that situation, knowing that they have the greatest kicker of all time that could make a 60-yard field goal and win them the game. So, you know, I thought that was a big mishap on the coaching staff of the Bengals, but they should have won that game, Zoo. And once again, Lamar is saved by the true captain of that team, Justin Tucker, man. The true captain.
Dude. Shout out to Justin Tucker, man. This dude legit is the greatest kicker of all time, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah. That's the one position that I don't really care about the hardware, like with Super Bowls. It's just about the accuracy of your kicks and the clutchness. And Justin Tucker he has it all. He has it all. Nobody cares that, you know, a lot of people are going to argue Vinatieri. Yes, he made big kicks in the Super Bowl, but I never really seen, and like you said, my memory could be bad, but I just don't remember seeing the amount of long kicks that that Vinatieri is making that Justin does. And like you say, Justin, you know, even though, like you say, the Super Bowl stuff and playoff moments may not be there, but you just know you're not ever fearful when he goes up to kick. You just have, and like you say, Baltimore, I wouldn't say is like, I don't know, Tampa Bay, where half of the year it's like great weather. Like he's made some good kicks in like in tough weather. So
Baltimore,
shout out to Justin Tucker for sure. I think for me, the game that I focused on the most was actually the London game with the Packers and the Giants, and more so from a Giants perspective. It's weird because the Giants defense, I could say is good, but it's not like elite. I could also say on the flip side that with their offense is Saquon or bust, and you could kind of say Daniel Jones is a game manager, but they just seem to like they're like the fighter that gets knocked around in the first couple of rounds, but they're still standing.
Can't knock them out, man. We can't knock them out.
The person that they're fighting keeps punching them. But it's like they're running out of ammo because now they're tired, and like now that the person that they're punching is taking all the blows, he's ready to knock you out, even though you thought you were going to be able to knock them out. And you know, the one thing I can give Daniel Jones credit about is nobody's saying he's a really good quarterback or an elite quarterback, but he's doing this without a lot of his top playmakers and the guy that they signed. What's his name? I forget his name. He's like a bust.
Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, Saturday, basically doing nothing. Like he's been nothing since he's gotten there. So to me, like that's you got to give him credit for at least managing that. So like when Wan'Dale Robinson comes back, which is the high pick from this year, and Kadarius Toney come back, like maybe with Darius Slate, like maybe it'll open that game up even more. Like because Saquon's eating and doing what he needs to do. But I got to shout the Giants out because last year we all knew what they were. We knew they just was an afterthought in New York, and it speaks to Daboll and just his coaching and his mentality. That does matter. Like you say, sometimes people get in this whole theory of coaches. They kind of shift games, but it's more about players. But you're seeing in this situation that Daboll is putting an imprint on that team. Like, look, we're going to be a team that can fight you tooth and nail. And you got to also think about, like, he also was part of Josh Allen becoming who he was in Buffalo. Now, he does have Stephon Diggs, but I think he helped a lot in that. And you're seeing it with Daniel Jones. Like, now, does that mean I'm not going to go, if we have a chance to get a quarterback next year, I'm not going to go get one? No, I'm going to go get one. But, it's Daniel Jones is doing good enough to where it's making, as a whole, and this is my bigger picture point, the NFC East, like, they're a good conference. Throughout of those 4 teams are legit. Yeah, throughout of those 4 teams are legit. With the Eagles, we know the Eagles are the Eagles. The Cowboys have an elite defense. Their defense is so good that I don't even care who's going to be at quarterback. I don't care at all. Like it could be Dak or Cooper. I think they're going to make the playoffs and be pretty good because their defense just is the game changer.
And
so
running game.
Yeah, and the running game. So I'm not, with the NFC East, man, it's going to be a bloodbath. I feel like you say, Washington's going to be Washington, but the other 3 teams, man, I like where they stand. I like where they stand. So that's my overall point when I was watching that game. Like, the Packers for me, like within that game, I still don't understand. Like I understand they got Dobbs, and I understand Cobb had a game, a little. He kind of had a resurgence, I guess you could say, but then Lazard's okay. I just feel like they don't run the ball enough.
Nope.
I feel like they don't run it enough, especially considering if you look on that offense, their 2 best players are probably the 2 running backs outside of Aaron.
They give
so I don't know why they don't run the ball.
AJ Dillon, and he had 34 yards. You do
they're
that.
Not,
I mean, that's 6 yards a carry, and they don't continue to feed him.
They get cute on the goal line. Like, stop.
Oh,
you got AJ,
they're red zone.
Just run them. Stop trying to be cute and do like little crossing pattern. Like, I know you may want to get Rodgers his, touchdowns, but it's just like stop being cute. Run it with Jones or Dillon. Just do that,
please.
But what do I know? I don't know.
That game was an embarrassment, man. It was an embarrassment because usually when Aaron Rodgers gets up, he's a great front runner, man. When Aaron Rodgers is up, everything's going your way. Usually he closes the deal. But they're allowing 14-2 run in the freaking 4th quarter, man. Aaron Rodgers not be able to convert in the red zone on those 2 pass attempts, man. They were like they got tipped, man. They got tipped. Like it's just embarrassing because this Giants team, they might be 4-1, man. This is one of the worst 4-1 teams ever, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm looking at the team on paper. I'm not buying them, man.
They just have chemistry.
Yeah, I'm not buying them. Like
the next 2 weeks, I think will tell what the Giants are,
division,
who they are.
Exactly, but like obviously Saquon's running game, like he back, man. King Quan is back, man. He looked incredible, man. The passing route, the jukes, some of the jukes, like he's creating something out of nothing. It's not like they're giving these big holes for Saquon to blow right through, man. He's creating like rushing yards, like without relying on the offensive line. So shout out to Saquon. But Daniel Jones, man, he as a moderator, man, this dude, man, as game manager, man, 21 for 27 for 217. That's not bad at all.
Definition. Transitioning to fantasy football, we're going to try to give you guys a segment every so often with fantasy. If you're struggling, if you're trying to find, I guess, hidden gems within your own leagues. And, I thought of a segment that I think we could start, which is a buy, sell, hold type of deal. So some players you're high on, some players that you're kind of iffy on, and some players you're just ready to get rid of. And Zoo, I'm going to let you start with the buy of who you're buying right now.
For me personally right now, man, I just hate it on Rodgers, man. I just hate it on him. But I feel like the passing game will get a little better. Just a little. It doesn't have to be much better. Yeah. Because right now, the wide receiver 1 position is real random right now. You got Randall Cobb going up. Yeah. You got Alan Lazard. You got the rookie Romeo Doubs. I like Romeo Doubs, man. Going in later in the season, I'm projecting for the future playoff run. Romeo Doubs going to establish himself as a wide receiver 1 on that offense. So
he just needs more time.
Yeah, because ain't going to be Randall Cobb. I'm sorry, that brother's too old.
No, he's a slot guy too.
Yeah, and Al Lazard, he's a great blocking wide receiver. That's what he's out there for. when they run the football, man, Al Lazard, big body, boom, great blocker, man. That's his role. Romeo Doubs will be in that Devontae Adams type, bro, little slant route type of dude, go for the tutties, man. So I feel like he's going to establish himself. It might take a while because I feel like it's going to take time and progression, man. Week 8, 9, 10, 11, man, it's going to take time for this guy to develop. But if you have him on your roster, do not waive him. Do not waive him. Stash him on the bench if you don't believe him for the next couple of weeks. But, man, oh, man, I feel like this guy in the future, man, he might be Aaron Rodgers' #1 wide receiver, one option, man. It might be a sorry option right now because that offense looking a little sad. But I feel like Aaron Rodgers, man, will get better because it can't get any worse. Because right now, Aaron Rodgers is throwing 230 passing yards a game. That's so bad. Like, Aaron Rodgers might not be MVP for him, but he's better than that. So I feel like his passing yards are going to go up. Romeo Doubs to get more target share. So with those two factors, I feel like Romeo Doubs as a bench guy, sleeper, man, don't drop him, man. And if people in the other leagues are a little upset with Romeo Doubs' bad performance, try to trade for him. Because I feel like he's pretty cheap to get right now. Because right now, like, he had like a couple good games, like a couple of tutties, but no like explosive games, like 100-yard games. I feel like you could trade cheap for him right now. So trade one of your bench guys for Romeo Doubs because that is definitely a possibility right now. Definitely a possibility.
I'm going to stick with the young dude, too. And I'm going to go to a guy that was mentioned in the preseason. I'm going with Kenneth Walker III, man, with that.
I wonder if you mentioned him.
Explain yourself.
All I gotta say is there's a reason why they're good. Because they got Geno Smith, who's actually an average quarterback this year.
He might be better than average.
Above average.
He might be.
He's better than Russell Wilson right now.
Yeah, he is.
By like a margin. There's actually a margin. Like Geno Smith is balling. So
yeah. But I mean, I got to go with this running back, and I think it's kind of an obvious pick. And I'm sure a lot of guys probably handcuffed Penny at the beginning of the season, just knowing his injury history.
Yep.
But at the same time, Rashad Penny was not going that high in fantasy drafts, and there is a possibility that people were thinking, oh, DJ Dallas could actually be the RB2, unless you listen to our podcast, and Sean had him at a potential RB1. But at the beginning of the season, Kenneth Walker was RB3, and so it's possible that he might be available. Obviously, you probably would have had to put a waiver punch in maybe last week, even before this game, just with him getting more touches. But if this is another guy, Zoo, I think that, some people probably have him on a bench. They were sitting on him for a while. He may have even had some movement at the beginning of the season. But if you can try and get this guy, I mean, he had 8 carries after Penny went down, 88 yards, man, 11 a carry against the Saints defense that I know they've been giving up some points, but they're no scrubs on the interior. I mean, with Cam Jordan there, a couple other guys, and he was giving it to him. So, with this offense, if Geno Smith continues to play well and, gets Tyler Lockett and DK involved, he loves his Will Dissly as well. I think it's just going to continue to open up holes for Kenneth Walker III, man, and he's a good young guy. And if you have him on Dynasty, man, your future is looking bright because this kid could be really good.
Yeah. I think one player that I was mad about at first that I didn't get when I drafted, and then I was like, who cares? Because the quarterback was Mitch Trubisky. And now that Kenny Pickett has came into the fold, I think you should go buy and try to go get George Pickens because it's obvious that he's targeting him a lot. Now, part of that might be just because, when you're, they're both rookies, maybe you're just in more scenarios in camp where you can develop chemistry. So maybe that's a reason why he's doing that. Now, there will be somebody that can argue Deontay is a target horde. And if Deontay is on his A game, then he's going to get a majority of the targets. But when I watched a little bit, and when I say a little bit, I watched the highlights of the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game. They showed a little bit of just Kenny throwing to George, and it just looked natural. And George Pickens is 6'4". He's a physical type of receiver. He likes to mix it up. So he's just your, I would say potentially has more of an upside than someone like Chase Claypool. So George Pickens would be a guy that I would definitely go out there and try to maybe – I doubt he's on your waiver wire, but I would try to go get him because he just seems like he's going to ascend. Now, the Steelers, I don't think are going to be any good, but I think Kenny Pickett is going to rely on him a lot. So that's one guy I think I would buy really, really high on if I was playing fantasy. And like I said, I doubt he's on the waiver wire. Let me go to my notes. So someone I thought, and this is all depending on the quarterback health, but Jalen Waddle is a guy I think I would hold a lot. I don't know what Tua's health is going to be. And the fact that Teddy Bridgewater also got hurt. Now, I don't think he's going to be that long. You're dealing with a quarterback that's pretty much, just a guy that's a practice squad type player. So Jalen Waddle, I didn't go with Tyreek because I kind of feel like Tyreek just knows how to get. He's a little bit more explosive, and maybe if you're just throwing, you could get a go route with him or something like that. But Jalen Waddle, his stats are going down the last couple of games, and that's all because of the quarterback. But we don't know what Tua's health is going to be, and even when he does come back, how good is he going to be? Like, we don't know if he's just going to pick up where he left off. So I think Jalen Waddle is a guy that I would hold. I would not trade him. Because it could be another scenario where Tua comes back and they're just fine, or Bridgewater. But I would definitely maybe put him in flex if you have elite options at receiver and a good stable running backs. I might bench him because the quarterback is just not good, and it's showed when they played the Jets, that 40-17 beatdown. Like, I don't think you can have any Dolphin playmakers out there except for Mostert. Yeah, Mostert. Yep. That's it. Yeah. But that's interesting too, because they went and got Chase Edmonds, and they're playing
different roles, and I think they just can't rely on the passing right now. At least probably for another week. Mostert was the money play in DraftKings this past week. Let's put it that way. He was the cheapest, best performing running back last week. That's a good pick. I'm actually going to hold another kind of stud guy, I guess you could say, is Kamara, man. I'm going to hold him. This is really the first week that he finally did something, did not get to the end zone. Taysom Hill saw to that.
Taysom Hill experience, my God.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Pulled off a Travis Kelce. The man even threw for a touchdown. And you have to start him as a quarterback in any fantasy. So, I guess he did his job. But
it's freaking.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I do think that, the fact that Andy Dalton's going to be in, I'm not sure how long Jameis is out. I don't know if you guys have that off the top of your head.
No, I don't.
As long as Andy Dalton's in there, I think they're just going to continue to rely on Kamara and Taysom Hill to be the two playmakers, especially with Olave possibly missing some time. Michael Thomas has been in and out per usual. People should have seen that coming. But yeah, this is a guy I'm holding. Obviously, you usually don't want to trade a guy after he had his first good week because you want to see if he can keep it consistent. And especially with where he was going in this year's drafts and how his production was, I'm sure a lot of people were entertaining offers or at least thinking about trading low on Kamara's value. But I think it has a little bit of an uptick, and I think we'll see that probably over the next coming weeks, especially with Dalton still at the helm because he loves those dink and dunks, man, and the Saints are really good at running those plays. So, I think Kamara's got to be a guy you continue to give a chance at least through their bye week.
Interesting, man. Interesting running back, man. Like you, I'm gonna go with another stud running back, man. That hasn't been that impressive, man. But you can't sell this guy, Dalvin Cook, man. Oh, I know, man. You talk about selling Dalvin Cook, man. I remember you thought about selling this dude, man.
After the
Dalvin Cook, the usage is there, man. The usage is there. This is all you can ask for because the whole time Dalvin Cook's been playing is the lack of touchdowns. And look what happened. Touchdown regression, baby. You got to love a good old touchdown regression. 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook finally got into the end zone, man. This dude is still the workhorse. Got 18 carries. He finally got 2 receptions, man. So the passing game usage. So I'm projecting more passing for Dalvin Cook. Same rushing for Dalvin Cook. And the offense to have a little more cohesion because the Vikings had a good week, bad week. I feel like the Vikings offense
almost blew it.
Oh, yeah, they do. They are almost allergic to winning right now, man. But the Vikings got it done against the Chicago.
Yeah, I almost pulled that comeback back.
Fields finally had a good game, but I digress. That's all I'm going to say.
Fields almost had a good game.
Fantasy dark horse right there.
Hold Justin Fields.
Yeah, with the rushing yards.
Justin Fields, man.
But yeah, Cook, man, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I think he
did
Cook, this week.
Because I feel like a lot of people were trying to buy cheap on Dalvin Cook, thinking, hey, I see you pay you off for me, James Robinson and someone else for Dalvin Cook. I'm like, stop it, Cook. I'm like, Dad, James Robinson gonna regress, man. Travis Etienne sharing the backfield. Dalvin Cook owns the backfield. And if you got Dalvin Cook, I gotta remind everyone, if you have Dalvin Cook, don't just hold him. Get Alexander Madison if he's not on your roster. You need to have him. Because legit, if you don't have Alexander Madison, I might trade Dalvin Cook to the owner that has Madison, man, for a potential blockbuster trade. Because I can't sleep with having Dalvin Cook on my roster if I don't have the backup. Because the minute he goes down, it's over, man. It's over. And his ability to miss games. Yeah, and his ability to miss games, he never plays all 17 games. He's going to miss at least 3 to 4 games a year. So those weeks that he's out, you get that insurance, man. Pay one of your wide receivers, man. I traded Elijah Moore for Alexander Madison last week, man, just to get the insurance, man.
That was a steal. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah. Especially with Elijah Moore. He had a bad couple of weeks, too.
So
getting that insurance for Dalvin Cook, well worth the price, man. Get that insurance if you don't got it, man, because Dalvin Cook without the insurance, that's a risky asset.
I was the same for Swift, too.
Yep, Jamal Williams. Gotta get Jamal
insurance
Williams
for because he's kind of showed a pattern of being hurt a lot. And now, like you say, he's been out for the last 2 weeks, and then the bye week, just brutal. But transitioning to Sell, you just mentioned him, James Robinson, and this kind of hurts because I kind of thought he was really trending towards being the bell cow because it just kind of felt like ETN was going to be the gadget guy to maybe throw like defenses off, but you kind of see in the I guess trending towards ETN, not in the same facet of how Michael Carter and Breece Hall is. It's a little bit slower, but I think it's going in that same direction. Because if you just watch ETN play, he's got everything that you want in a back. Now I don't know if a lot of it is maybe they were just managing him early because he came off an injury, but it's obvious that they want him to be the guy. Like they're putting him on end arounds, they're putting him in a bunch of routes. They want him to be the guy that can be the explosive element to their offense. So James Robinson is a guy I think has some value for the next maybe 2 weeks, but after that, it's gonna be tough, and that kind of sucks because he was a fantasy darling a couple years ago, had a crazy injury, and then he fought his way back, and I guess you could say he fooled us into thinking he was gonna be, the number one back. But yeah, I think that's a guy you got to get off of.
I finally made the switch. I have both. So, that is a handcuff you had to have.
Yeah.
I finally moved ATN into the starting spot just because I think even if he doesn't score, his pass catching, I think that alone.
He gets a lot of touches, man. He gets a lot of valuable touches.
A lot of touches. And it's possible I have to actually start both of them this week. And they both had good games against the Colts when they shut them down in week 2. So it's potential, but I like that. Yeah, I think that fits perfectly, Sean, because I'm diving into another running back, man. And this is actually tough to say, but I'm actually going to say Najee Harris. I'm selling on Najee Harris. I think and it has nothing to do with the quarterback change, because I do think whether it's Trubisky or Pickett, he was not getting the work. He hasn't had over 12 points in a half-point PPR league this year, which for him, that's pretty ridiculous seeing how well he's done in the receiving game in the past. And they're just not using him to his full potential. And I think they're also just playing with Pickett. He threw 52 times. Now, I know they were down the whole game, and they were just trying to fight to stay in it. But at the same time, I think they're just going to try and use this to develop Pickett this year, try and get him going with Pickens, try and bring Deontay back into the fold. And maybe Najee has, some uptick towards the end of the year if they can get the passing game going. But I don't know, man. At this point, it's just gotten to that week 5 area where he has still not had a good game. And for the draft value where you got him, might be time to, maybe sell on somebody that you're willing to take a risk on. So that's a guy I'm looking at.
Really quick, who you probably could have got a trade for, but now you won't get that trade is for Breece Hall. You're not getting that trade now.
Oh, Breece Hall, man. This dude looks like
maybe a week ago.
Yeah, you might have got that a week ago or two weeks ago, but now that's impossible. Yeah.
Yep.
Man, Breece Hall looks like a stud, man.
That he does.
Holy crap.
He'll be a second round guarantee.
His usage at the beginning wasn't even that good. He was still getting double-digit points. Now he's getting usage.
Exactly.
Now he's dropping.
That was a telltale right there.
So, yeah, Breece Hall's performance has been very, very impressive for the Jets. But for me, man, I'm selling Clyde Edwards-Helaire, man. Yeah. I'm selling. If I got CEH, congrats to you because you got him late. You could probably get him 6th to 8th round. That's probably the place where you got CEH, man. You get this guy because you're on an elite offense, man. Elite offense, you're going to get lots of red zone opportunities, man. Hopefully he gets a lucky touchdown, man. He gets a lucky touchdown. But his usage, though, my goodness. I'm watching Jerick McKinnon play football. He looks better than CEH, man, running football. I think he's a better runner. Like, I still remember that one play where CEH has the big hole. This is a couple of weeks ago. Big hole. He just doesn't run in it, man. Like, the dude's vision just doesn't look that good. His rushing attempts, man, he's getting single-digit rushing attempts. He only had one game where he had double-digit rushing attempts.
Yep.
And he's not like an elite pass catcher. Like, it's not like he's getting like 5 to 6 receptions a game. He's just been getting a lot of I feel like fluky touchdowns where Mahomes spreading the ball around. He did warn us this year that he's going to be passing the ball to everyone. Everyone outside of Travis Kelce. It's Travis Kelce, reliable. You're going to be able to predict his usage. But everybody else, no idea.
Juju.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Juju, bust. This dude gets 8 targets, catches 2 footballs, man. I feel like he's barely playing. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster, man. The usage for these guys is just sporadic. He doesn't he doesn't got those eyes. He only got eyes for Kelce, man. Got no eyes for nobody else. So everybody else on this team, I feel like you can't have a must start, man. Exactly. I was still Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Mecole Hardman, CEH, Sky Moore, Justin Watson, all these guys. I don't think he play any of them.
I don't think he even plays.
A couple catches last night.
Yeah, he got 2 catches last night. But all these receivers, I can't play any of them confidently. Maybe on a week where you have a bunch of bye weeks, so you have to start someone for a week at a flex. But reliable guys that you want in the starting lineup, I want none of them, man. And that includes CEH, man. So if you could get someone, they'd be like, oh, CEH, man, he's an RB1, right? He's a top 10 running back right now, man. Try to sell high right now, man, because that value might fall off the cliff after 2 more weeks of low usage, and that's going to eventually correlate with low production because his usage is just not there. Just watching him play, Mahomes be chucking it. There'll never be a run first team. So I feel like CEH, man, those fluky tutties, man, going to go to somebody else, man. Go to somebody else, one of those random wide receivers out there.
Yep.
Facts.
CEH.
So yeah, I agree. The Kansas City playmakers are just like you said. Patrick Mahomes warned us. They're just none of those plays. There's no guy I'm confident in except for Kelce. And it's kind of funny that we talk about Lamar always depends on Mark Andrews. It's the same thing with Patrick Mahomes and his tight end. He didn't really. Their offense is a little bit more flashier, and they have more, I guess, brand names because we don't really know any of the Ravens receivers outside of Bateman and I guess you say Duvernay. So they don't have a lot the stable of guys that we know in Kansas City. But they both are tight end reliant. So yes, we got to kind of get, I guess, CEH out of here, which I was never big on him before the draft anyway. So I did not like him.
I was done with him.
He burned a lot of people the last 2 years, man. A lot of people.
2 hours later.
If you're a fan of the NFL and you look at storylines, the Panthers fired Matt Rule a couple of days ago, and it's been leading to a lot of speculation. Are they going to tank? Are they going to still try to compete? I think Steve Wilkes got promoted. BJ Walker, I think, is going to be announced as a starter this coming Sunday. So maybe that helps somebody like DJ Moore because he's had a struggle for real. I feel like he got overdrafted because of the Baker type of situation.
The Baker,
man, something he needs a new start, but. We're not talking about DJ Moore. We're talking about Christian McCaffrey. It's been leading to some speculation that he might actually get traded. So I wanted to ask the guys, what are some of his potential fits around the league? I'm assuming they're going to be contenders. So, P. Bush, I'm going to start with you.
I feel like this one's kind of obvious, but I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
I think there's only maybe a couple other options for, teams that really need it. But we've talked about this for probably 2 years, second NFL season now. Bills never been able to get any one of their running backs truly going. Singletary a little bit more than Moss. They brought in James Cook as a rookie, fumbled in his first rushing attempt. He did have a nice touchdown, I think, towards the end of the game against the Steelers this past week. But look, man, if you can run an option with Josh Allen and Christian McCaffrey,
oh Jesus!
I mean, you might as well just write off the AFC. Yeah. I don't think the Chiefs have a chance. Chargers, no chance. The Bills would run through pretty much anybody. That is if McCaffrey can stay healthy. But, I think that if there is a guy the Panthers are going to move, and Sean, I think this is why you brought it up, DJ Moore's younger, right? He's kind of more of a core guy. He signed a contract extension. McCaffrey has the history of injuries. He's kind of at a position that you can kind of fill in, right? Yep. And, especially in the pass catching game, you don't need a stud. Obviously, if you're a good team, you want a stud. And I think that's why the Bills should go for him. So I don't know what the price tag would be. I think that would actually be really interesting.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, that's tough.
Insight into. Because, we saw first rounders, for A.J. Brown, but, does McCaffrey carry the same type of value, warranting a first round pick? So depends what the Bills are willing to give up. But I do think if they're really trying to lock themselves in as the favorites this year, this wouldn't be a bad move.
Yeah. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey, man. I feel like this brother, man, he might not be the most flashy fantasy football player this year. Not much hype about McCaffrey this year.
No.
But low-key, he's having a really, really productive year in this atrocity of a team. He's got either a touchdown or 100 scrimmage yards every game he's played this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
He has stayed healthy, which was the big if this year. And this guy looking a little more confident out there. So this guy's getting production in an atrocious offense that had to get rid of their head coach. So shout out to McCaffrey for having a hell of a year, man. But I got to agree with you, man. That was my pick, too, the Buffalo Bills, man.
Yeah,
the thing is, I want to see that brother on a good team, man.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey deserves the opportunity to be on a good team. I think he's a good dude. What do you think him and Josh Allen? It's just disrespectful to the other team, man. That is so mean. When you have those either Josh Allen runs or McCaffrey runs, man, are you kidding me? Just no one to stop. You got these
two on the outside.
Physical specimens.
Yeah,
My
man.
goodness, the physical specimen of these two dudes running the football or passing. Like, forget McCaffrey's a great pass catcher, man. You got Diggs, he can line McCaffrey out as a wide receiver, man, if you want to throw the football. And like this brother Josh Allen threw 300 yards in 1.5 last night. And Sunday night, man. Sunday. 300 yards. He didn't even need to play the rest of the game, man. That was so embarrassing. That Steelers team, Jesus, made them look like a freaking what's that? The XFL team, man. Made them look like an XFL team, man. Like, Jesus
not
Christ,
good for the steel curtain.
Yeah, like Vegas knew what they're talking about when they said it was a 14-point spread against the Steelers, man.
Yeah,
and that was giving the Steelers too much credit. Just think about that, man.
And I think if they had McCaffrey, I mean, that'd be just ridiculous.
Oh man, the Buffalo Bills, man, like they're in it to win it, man. They have the coach, they have the quarterback, they have the defense, they have the offense. Pull a Rams, man. Go all in.
Yeah,
go all in. Trade the draft picks if that's what's going to cost.
Yeah,
I feel like it won't even cost them any draft kits because McCaffrey's on the older side and his injury history. So legit, the Bills, just think of it as a one-season guy, man. You don't need him for the future. Get him, win now, man. Because if you win the championship and McCaffrey helps you, well worth whatever you gave up, man. Worth whatever you gave up.
Especially for a franchise that lost 4 Super Bowls in the row in the 90s. So,
and you have James Cook for the future.
Yeah,
like he's for the future that you already have is like a guy that McCaffrey could also come in and just help him out as well to maybe accelerate his learning process. So like you say, win now mode. If it takes a couple of picks, like you say, I'm not trading no first, second, or maybe even a third, but like fourth, I'll give a couple future fourths for McCaffrey, and then like I don't know a budding player. If like you say, I'm not really
Kevin
big.
Singletary.
I don't know you can take Singletary or the Isaiah McKenzie, one of those guys, whatever, but. Yeah, so one I just thought of, since we all kind of agree the Bills is the best fit, a team that loves the plunge, even though they may not have the draft capital, is the Rams. Why don't they plunge?
That was my second.
Why don't they plunge more? And like you say, maybe if it takes a player, maybe Cam Akers needs a new start. And if you maybe trade Cam Akers in a 4th or 5th, maybe he gets it going on the because he is from the South. He's from Mississippi, like so. Maybe people in the South are being in the South. He'll be able to have more family come to the games, things like that. Who knows? But I think that could be interesting, just because we know what they got with Cooper Kupp. Allen Robinson's kind of been a disaster. I don't think they have outside of Higbee, I guess you could say as a good option. Yeah. They don't have a third guy, like a third option that is a bona fide threat to go to the house or do anything, or could take swing passes to do whatever. And I think McCaffrey could bring that dimension that could also maybe awake that offense. Now I wouldn't say their offense has been the entire problem with the Rams, but that could definitely help if they had somebody like McCaffrey. I think it could definitely help. Yeah.
Their O-line struggled.
Their O-line, the amount of sacks, the amount of picks of Matthew Stafford this year, the offense, like legit defense are lighting them up every time they play the Rams. It's been shocking. It's been absolutely shocking. And
I don't think it's a Super Bowl hangover either. I think they have issues. I don't think it's just they won the Super Bowl in this. Like you say, we talk about the Super Bowl teams that from last year, Cincinnati and LA. I think Cincinnati has a lot of stuff that they went through that is correctable, and I think they can get to fixing it. I think with the Rams, it just feels like outside of Cooper Kupp, and I don't even think Tyler Higbee is all that. They're just forcing him the ball.
Dude, he gets a lot of dinking
like
dunks, man.
Yeah, I think he's okay. Yeah, so they don't really have that second playmaker, which is kind of crazy because I wonder how this offense would look if Odell was still healthy. I think this offense would be a whole lot better. But the fact that
another topic.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be coming up soon. I'm not sure when he'll be cleared and he'll be able to play, but yeah, that will be another another situation where a contender is definitely going to try to get a hold of Odell, and he's going to have a lot of suitors because, like I say, it's nothing. It's when it comes to receivers, man, like you get as many as you can because that just makes your offense more potent if you can do that. So,
AKA Tom Brady. Yep.
Facts. So we are definitely going to see where McCaffrey, because I have a feeling that he is going to get moved. We just don't know to what team and what's happening because right now it's all preliminary. So
Game over.
like you say, week 6 coming up. Like you say, the bye weeks are going to be involved, so make sure you move your fantasy teams around. NBA is going to be starting in about a week. We're going to be having a preview on that soon. It's like I say, it just snuck up on us. Reinforces my theory about October, man. It's just the best month of the year for sports, man. You got everything everything you need when it comes to sports with the NBA, baseball, football. It's just all of it's there. So make sure you guys tune into our pages, bullheaded_pod on Instagram, bullheaded864 on TikTok, Quantron Knows on YouTube, all the DSPs, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, the whole 9. And for me, Zoo, and B-Bush, we are out.